Rachel, welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited to speak about a new topic today. It's a topic that a couple of people have been questioning, and I figured, you know what, let me try to sit down and address it to try to figure out what exactly is going on. Before I continue on in this topic, I would like to express a tremendous amount of thanks to the people who actually watch my videos. It means a lot to me, and every single time I see someone, I'm like, oh, someone else enjoyed or watched, or I hope at least appreciated my video. Please, I would really love to hear feedback. It would mean a lot to me. Subscribe, click on the bell for notification, comment, just say hi. I watched your video, I appreciated what you said, I learned something that you expressed. It would mean a lot to me. This topic is off the derech. It's a term that's usually used in the Orthodox Jewish community that means off the path, which usually indicates that either a Jewish teen or a Jewish young adult has gone off the Orthodox path of Judaism into their own life or into their own path in life, etc., etc. It's kind of frowned upon. What I would want to do today is to address what is going on, why is this even happening. From the outside world perspective, the world sees us and we have our faith, we have our Judaism, we have our path, we have our set values, we have our set goals. There's a lot of stability. Shouldn't even be existing this problem. Unfortunately, we even come across certain newses and the headlines that this Jewish teen went on drugs, or this teen did something that they should have not done, etc., etc., and it causes a lot of raised eyebrows to like, what? How can someone live and appear so orthodox from the outside and so from the outside and find themselves in such a situation? Were they brought up all along? Were they brought up with the right values all along? Were they sincere in their Judaism? These kinds of questions just start to come up because if you're brought up with the right values, it should not lead to that kind of downfall or that kind of result that people are even leaving the path. Usually when you work for something, usually the result follows from that. But when you find that you work for something and you find yourself in a totally different way, you're like, hold on one second. Was the original path sincere? Was it truthful? Was it meaningful? Being brought up and raised in the Orthodox Jewish community, they were raised with values that we have a God, our God exists, He lives with us, He's part of us. But it was always I like to phrase this situation with like, okay, God is up in heaven, but I'm down here, and what does God have to do with me? There's no connection between God and me. So as much as to be raised with, okay, but there is a God, what's that to do with me? So now when teenagers start to face different challenges and different life experiences, if it's with their family and friends, close-knit, because obviously it's basically school and home and school, it's very, very close-knit, and then they find themselves in a challenge, and then it's very easy for them to slide down because God is God. He has His own life somewhere, but that has nothing to do with me. So as much as they were brought up with that, but there's no connection. So it's very easy for them, once hitting adulthood, to go on their own path because there was never a connection. The second point that I want to bring out is mental health starts to walk in, obviously, during teenage years. and then they're faced or they're faced with there has been abusive situations that they either personally encountered, they witnessed, they had to face or deal with. And we're calling here adults because obviously they are experiencing these different situations with adults. As much as they are preached with there is a God and we have to follow his way and his path and this and that, but at the end of the day, when it comes to day-to-day life, they're faced with adults who are following contrary to what God wants or what our Torah says to do. And these teenagers or young adults, since they encountered that, it brings it to a shutdown. Because basically what they're faced with, so these orthodox people who are like super orthodox from the outside, when faced with different encounters, is going contrary to what God wants. Now what do? And then it walks into the Suwaminit. So you are following God for your needs, not because God said so. Because they're faced with the adult is trying to hide behind God or hide behind the Torah that's telling us do this or don't do that, and then you're doing totally the opposite. Of course, automatically, why should we be here to follow your rules? Let me give an example. God said we have to honor our father and our mother. It's one of the 10 commandments. But now the thing is like this. God wants that children should honor their father and mother because to teach them the Torah way, to teach them what God wants. Now, if the father or mother is doing contrary to what God wants, the father or the mother will come to the child and say, hey, God said that you have to obey your father and your mother. So whatever I decide, you have to obey it because God said. Now, if the child comes and says, but God said you also have to keep the Sabbath, you have to keep Shabbos, and your mother, the mother is telling me, no, you don't have to keep the Shabbos. Now, who do you listen to? Of course, automatically, the child's going to say, hold on one second. Now you're creating your own rules. This has nothing what to do with God. And of course, it's going to lead teens, young adults off the path because they're faced with it's human ideas. It's not God's ideas. It's not God's will. It's not God's wish. We're here to fulfill God's wish. But now, if we have big people in the community who are saying, oh, but I decided that this should be, and trying to even hide behind God, they're going to say, what do we need you for? We could come up with our own rules. We could come up with our own path. That's why they leave. Because they realized all along that they were deceived. You try to hide behind God only to impose your rules. Why should they stay? Now, I would like to give a message to the young people who have left. Usually the first thing, obviously, is still involved in the community. First thing, oh, come, return, we're sorry. No, I'm not going to tell you all that crap. No, this is a lot more serious than just return. Because that's not going to happen. What I am going to say is, you have to view Yiddishkeit, you have to view Judaism as God wants you to make a connection with him. So now you're going into a room all by yourself between God and you. And God wants you to fulfill his wishes and his will. This is what you were sent here for. Unfortunately, you're going to say, but where was God? I was faced with abuse. I was faced with deceiving. I was faced with so many human things that knocked it out, like really shut it down. You're going to tell God, where were you? And for that, God was there. God, for some reason, we had to go through that test. Our father Abraham went through 10 tests. After 10 tests, he told God no more. It's tough. God was there. God was with Abraham. But he had to go through 10 of them. And it's tough. One thing I'm asking, and one thing that Avraham did, he did not leave. He stayed with God. With God, you have everything. God is there. God just wants you to pass those tests. Tell God, I'm going to stay faithful to you. I have trials, I have tribulations, but at the end of the day, I am going to stay connected with you. You're my source of life. You gave me existence, and I want to show that I'm going to stay connected with you. You will feel that you need this break because unfortunately Yiddishkeit, Judaism, was molded in a way that we're forced to keep Shabbos. It all brings this bitterness and anger and resentment, and this has been piling for years and years and years. So what I would suggest is you need a break from Yiddishkeit, take a break. Like the Lubavitch Rebbe says, a descent for the sake of ascent. So you're leaving Yiddishkeit because you need that relief, you need that space, you need to feel like I can do now whatever I want because I was misled all along, and now I can do whatever I want in this full found freedom. So you want this break, take it. You need to get it out of your system. But at the end of the day, do not forget your true goal. Do not forget God is waiting for you to return. He wants to have that connection with you. Keep Shabbos with a sincerity. Keep Shabbos with a purity. Keep Shabbos for the sake of Shabbos. Not because you were imposed, not because you were told to, not because, no. You have decided to keep Shabbos because this is one of God's commandments that we should keep Shabbos. It's a connection between God and you. It has nothing what to do with rabbis, parents, neighbors, cousins, aunts. It has nothing what to do with that. You and God. Return because God wants you to return. Sometimes it's no one else, because when faced with certain abuse that has happened in the community and that children or young adults are being affected by it. And when I say are, is meaning today. And you're like, how can I return to something that literally betrayed me? My parents were supposed to be there for me. My rabbis were supposed to stand up for me. This was not supposed to happen in the Jewish community. And yet it did, and yet it does. How is this thing even happening? I spoke a little bit about faith. I spoke about faith in my first video clip, which you should definitely go out and watch. Because without faith, there's nothing. Everything is human. The whole core, the whole essence of Judaism is faith. Without faith, there's nothing. So, yes, adults were not there for you. You have to make your life. Not for anybody. For your life. It's your life. They made theirs. Whatever the choice they decided, they made it. It crushed you. It demolished you. It finished you off. Your life, you have to tell God, I want you in my life. Not because my parents, not because my rabbis, no. I want that connection with you. This is something that's everlasting. I always end off by saying, remember, the key to success in life is first believing in yourself. Believe in yourself that you can do it, you can do it. Take your time, but do it. See you in the next one.